Hey. Okay. I actually wanted to I wanted to record today because I just realized that there's a story. This story is really funny. Now, I tell this story in person, but like I'm going to tell it to you guys just so that you can laugh with me. So here's one thing that I say. I say this all the time. Like, people ask me why I don't watch television. You know, they're always talking about whatever the current TV show that they're watching, what it is, and they talk about it and shit. But I don't ever join those conversations because I don't watch television. And this is because, like, I live in the real world and I spend my time solving my own problems. Like, everybody has shit that they're working on. Like, and if you have some skills and abilities like self actualize, then hopefully tomorrow will be better than today for you. And if you live your life in that way where tomorrow is like a little bit better than today, you will live a good life. Because like that's just how it works. But if you don't and you kind of like stay the same every day, then you're kind of a weirdo. And yeah, I don't know what to tell you. Okay, but so this is a story of something that really happened, and I don't know, maybe it's just like some weird adult shit that, you know, I went through and whatever. I've gone through it now and I learned my lesson. Okay, so this is a story about jelly beans. Now, if you already know this story and you want to laugh along, then fuck it, laugh along. So, all right, this is like about, I don't know, maybe 3 months after I moved into this apartment. So, you know, I'm city living, adulting on my own. And I was like dating this person. And I'd been going over his house for dinner like a couple nights. So this night, he cooked a dinner or whatever, and it was fun. And then, like, we got into like a little argument, and I got really mad. It was about some chips or something. I can't remember what the argument was about, but I was like so mad. And what I did, because he bought these like jelly beans, right? Okay, so I literally like took the jelly beans. Okay, this is so funny. There are these like Sour Patch jelly beans or whatever, and I take the jelly beans, I stick them. I took like a handful of them, maybe like half the bag, because I think he was saying he wanted to eat the jelly beans, and he was asking why I didn't share, and I was like, "Fuck you, you don't get any." And he was like, "Yes, I do," and I was like, "No, you don't." So I take the whole bag of jelly beans or whatever, and I literally just started sticking them in my vagina. I just pushed as many in as would go. And then I tried to like, I had them in there for like, I don't know, like a minute or something. And then I kind of realized like how awful of an idea that was to really do that. And so I tried to like push them out, but I just end up like pissing on the floor. That was a whole thing, right? So it was just like the whole situation was just like really strange. But I was upset. I stuck the jelly beans in my vagina, whatever. So I go home, I come back to my apartment, and I get in the bath, and I'm thinking like, okay, I'll just sit in the tub and just wait for these jelly beans to come out. Now, the jelly beans started to dissolve. So like so they weren't in like the normal jelly bean form anymore. These had started to turn to goo, and they were like sticking to the sides of my vaginal walls. And because they were like the sour ones, so it was like the sour sauce or whatever started to like burn a little bit. And it was just like, I have to get these out, because like if I continue to let them dissolve, the burn will just get worse and worse. So I'm thinking like, I need help. I don't want to go to the emergency room, because like imagine having to explain that to a fucking nurse. There's always like weird shit, you know, like people who glue their hand to their penis or something, and they're those weird super glue people. So I'm like, I don't want to be one of those people. So I'm just gonna figure this shit out myself, and I'm thinking about like home remedies and shit. Anyway, so there's the other guy who I was talking to at the time, Kevin, right? And so I met Kevin on like, it was like a Tuesday around 11, because I work like weird hours anyway. So it was like a Tuesday at 11, and he was at the Easy Stop buying beer. And I was like, I don't know what type of life you're living, but if he didn't just buy like one beer, he bought like a case of beer, and it was like 11 a.m. I'm like, wow, this dude is like turning up at 11. I don't know what it is you do, but like, I want to know more, right? Like, I want to know who this guy is. So I was like, hey, how's it going? And he's like, hey, what's up? And I'm like, and then, yeah, so we exchanged numbers. And turns out, like, he was writing, like, a book or something about fixing elevators, because, like, that's what he does. He fixes elevators. Okay, cool. So that's the scoop there. And, so, anyway, I'd been talking to this guy, maybe for, like, a week or whatever. And I was, like, scrolling through my phone thinking, like, who am I going to call to help me? So I just text this guy. I just told him what happened. I was like, dude, I've got these like jelly beans stuck in my vagina. I need help getting them out. And he was like, do you want me to come over? Do you want me to help? And I'm like, yes. So, I know maybe that's like weird, but that's honestly like what happened. And so he comes over, and this, in my mind, here's what I'm thinking. He's the right person to call because he like knows how to fix shit, right? Like he literally builds elevators, like that's his job. So he like works with his hands. And I'm thinking this guy's probably like not afraid to like, you know, get his hands dirty or whatever. This is what I'm thinking in my mind. I'm like, he fixes elevators, so he could probably help me get the jelly beans out of my vagina, right? Okay, so this is what's going on in my mind. All right, so then he like so he comes, and I tell him what happened, and I'm like, I thought this was gonna totally freak you out, and I thought you just like weren't gonna come or whatever. But then he like did come, and he's like, yeah, this isn't even the weirdest thing I've seen. He told me about like some other girl who had like a mouse stuck in her vagina, and he had to help her get it out. And I was like, oh wow, well, so I don't actually feel that bad, you know, I'm not even the worst. Anyway, so we spent like 45 minutes trying to get the jelly beans out, and all of them wouldn't even come out. Like they were like, because they weren't just jelly beans. It was like goo stuck on the side. It was just incredible. Like it was 45 fucking minutes of trying to pick out jelly beans, and I didn't even get them all out. And so, like, over the next, like, 3 or 4 days, you know, he kept, like, checking in on me, like, oh, did the rest come out, you know? And they did end up coming out. I think I peed a couple out, and then by, like, the next day, I think it did, when they, like, cemented a little bit, like, the melting kind of stopped, and they did just, like, come out, but it was weird. It was weird. But it was also like, well, this happened, and I had to like live through that, and I guess it was a little bit embarrassing, kind of. Maybe I shouldn't say that. I'm not really embarrassed that it happened. It really fucking happened, right? So I don't know. I guess I just sucked up my feelings and just went with the honesty of like, yo, this is my lived experience, and this is what the fuck happened. So here we are. Here we are. So that's that story. Maybe actually it's not that interesting, but whatever.